Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to our reading sessions. Before we start, I hope that you are all doing well and you're staying very safe at home. Today, we're approaching the end of our poem, Casey at the Bat. Before we read the remaining stanzas, let's go back to review together the main points of the previous stanzas that we have studied earlier. Here, as you can see in this stanza, the fans, the audience was very devoted to Casey as they were watching every single movement by Casey. The game has started, and what was Casey's reaction to the first ball? How did Casey respond? He said, "That ain't my style. That wasn't my style," Casey said. Strike one, the umpire said. Unfortunately, the Casey, missed the first ball. Then, what was the fans' reaction to the umpire? They were angry at him. Yes, they said, "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" They shouted from the benches, accusing the umpire for being unfair. Anyway, we said that happens usually in our real life, in any sport game. After that, it was the second pitch. When the pitcher threw the ball, how Casey again responded to that ball. Yes, he ignored it. He ignored the second ball, and the umpire announced strike two. That was what we have studied. So far, Casey missed two balls due to his arrogance, maybe. He's taking the game so far lightly. Let's read today together what's going to happen. Do you think the result will change and the Mudville 9 team will win the game? Let's see. Stanza 11. "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. The sneer has fled from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon that plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and little children shout. But there's no joy in Mudville. Great Casey has struck out. So, that was the end of our poem. Yes, I think the result is revealed now. Let's go back to discuss the details of the stanzas that we have read. Let's start with stanza number 11. Stanza 11, line 1. "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered, "Fraud!" First of all, I'll just write for you the meaning of the word fraud. Okay. Fraud means here deception. Okay, again, I'll share with you here what does it stand for. The audience responded to the missed ball by Casey, by the arrogant Casey. They didn't like respond to Casey. They responded to the umpire instead. They accused him again by being unfair. They were angry, threatening the umpire for being unfair, for calling him fraud. Okay, that what the word fraud actually mirrors here. I'll write it for you guys, a general note for the word fraud. The audience or the fans were threatening the umpire and accusing him again. Of course, you have to keep in mind the devoted fans are not addressing Casey at all. They trust Casey. Casey is their hope. That's why they were angry at the umpire, or they are actually not paying attention at all to Casey's way of playing. Anyway, they think that Casey can't be wrong at all, and that's why they are accusing the umpire. Before we finish this line, we still have something about, yes, someone mentioned that. You're right. We have characterization. What kind of characterization, guys? Yes, you're right. The word maddened thousands. Of course, thousands, this word refers to the audience. This is an example of direct characterization, DC. Of course, DC stands for direct characterization, okay? You should be familiar with that by now. That was all about the first line. Let's move to the second one. But one scornful look from Casey and the audience was awed. Yes, a general note, same situation as before. Who can paraphrase the line? You're right. It took one look from Casey to settle down the tumult, to settle down the disorder among the audience. So Casey kind of controls or settles down, controls the fans' anger with one look again. Okay? That's it. The third line. They saw his face grow stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain. Now, Casey was not only here like calming down the audience. What did they see now in Casey? Yes, you're right. Here we have like two things to say. On one hand, Casey maybe is or has started to take the game more seriously than before. On the other hand, yes, what is it? The fans are trusting Casey. That's it. They saw that in Casey. I'll just write it as a general note. Casey has started to take the game maybe more seriously. Okay, so that's it here. Line number 4, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let that ball go by again. Definitely a very general note about this line, confirming the devotion and the trust of the audience in Casey. So the fans never lose hope and trust in their favorite, to them trustworthy Casey. Okay, that was all about stanza number 11. Let's proceed to stanza 12. Line number 1. The sneer has fled from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. Guys, do you remember the sneer that curled Casey's lips? Or Casey's lip? Yes, the same sneer now. In a previous stanza, the sneer curled Casey's lip. Now the sneer has fled from Casey's lip. His teeth are clenched in hate. What does that mean? Yes, the sneer that Casey had before, it's gone now. And moreover, furthermore, his teeth are clenched in hate. To help you paraphrase this line, I'll write the meaning of clench first. Clench means squeeze. You sometimes do that maybe when you're angry, when you're concentrating, when you're... Why? The question here, why Casey is doing that? Why the sneer has fled from Casey's lip? And he was the one who had it before. Yes, we will say what does it stand for after we discuss the second line. All in all, in this line, they are just showing us, revealing someone who is being angry now. Let's discuss the second line and then I'll write it for you. Line 2. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. Again, Casey is pounding with cruel violence his bat. Why he's doing that? Yes, that's right. Now we can say both lines, line number 1 and line number 2 in stanza 11, line 1 and 2, okay, both mirrors, or both mirror, we're talking about the two lines, so both mirror Casey's anger. Do you remember now how arrogant Casey was? Now this arrogance has changed to anger. Focus, guys. Casey at this point, do you think he is doing his best for this audience? I don't think so. It's just the case, Casey's arrogance is being changed to anger now for missing the 2 balls. Third line, and now the pitcher holds the ball and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. On one hand, we have, yes, the repetition of the word and now. This repetition to create the mood of suspense. That's right. Let's write it as a general note for the first, generally for the two lines here, line number 3 and 4. The repetition of and now creates the mood of suspense. Through the lines here, what happened in general here? The pitcher holds the ball and now he lets it go. He threw the ball again and now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Again, we discussed before that Casey at this part, Casey's arrogance has been changed to anger. And this anger is revealed with this image here. Air is shattered. Do you think here it means like Casey broke the air? No, air is shattered. Air can't be broken. But here it stands for how hard Casey was holding the bat to respond to that ball. Okay? So, all in all, you can say the air is shattered with Casey's blow. These phrases here, or they reflect, all in all, I'll just write it as a general note for the line. I'll write in parentheses, between parentheses, air is shattered with the statement Casey's blow. Both, okay, reflect or shows, okay, both statements show Casey's anger at this point. Of course, for failing to respond for the previous balls. Okay, that was all about stanza 12. Let's move to the end of our poem, stanza 13. I'll just take it down to keep the sequence of the lines. Stanza 13, the first line. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. Here I will not write the details of the stanza. You get your pencil ready, okay, and try to write the notes on your own. All in all, the poet here took us to a different side, as if he is visualizing other part of the game. Okay, he's visualizing the surroundings, let's say, rather than focusing on the game, or giving you the general atmosphere in this stanza while approaching the end of the game. He started with the word "oh." For me, the word "oh," yes, reflects something negative. It reflects something negative is about to happen, or it foreshadows bad results for the game. It foreshadows bad results, right? Anyway, the sun is shining bright. The second line, do you need me to write this note? Okay, I'll write it for you, no problem. Oh, in my opinion, foreshadows bad result for the game, or something bad is about to happen. After the suspense that we had in the previous stanza, here the word "oh" takes you or gives you an impression that they will lose. The second line, the band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. He's giving an image, as I told you, for the surroundings of the match. And somewhere, I just want to focus here, and somewhere hearts are light. Someone is saying hearts are light. This is, yes, you're right. I'll write it for you as a note. I'll never hesitate to write the note. So, somewhere hearts are light. Metaphor. That's right. But this metaphor, actually, we have something here. This metaphor is representing or conveying a certain image, right? At this metaphor, light, what does it symbolize? Light symbolizes what? At this point, hearts are light. Light here, it symbolizes fear and worries of the audience. Usually, light symbolizes something positive, symbolizes hope. But here at this point of the match, light stands for the fear and the worries in the hearts of the audience for their beloved team and for their beloved player. The third line of the last stanza, and somewhere men are laughing and little children shout. Do you remember in the second stanza, I think, when the poet also focused on the two groups of the audience? Here also he is visualizing men are laughing, men of course like audience. Who are the men are laughing here? Yes, maybe the opponents of the Mudville 9 team. The last line, but there is no joy in Mudville. Great Casey has struck out. Casey missed the third ball. As a result, no joy in Mudville. Mudville fans were, if I were one of these fans, actually I will be very frustrated, especially because of a player. Casey let the fans down. He let them down. Of course, the fans were frustrated. They lost the game, of course. They lost. Unfortunately. That was the end of our poem. I hope that you have enjoyed it and you liked it. Anyway, is this the end? Definitely no. We still have yes, someone is asking right now, what do we still have, do you think? Yes, we still have the poetic devices. Okay guys, I will go through the poetic devices in this poem. Let's start with alliteration. Before I display what is alliteration, I need you to remember what is alliteration. I'll just scroll up a little bit to show you alliteration. Okay. Alliteration, guys, is the repetition of the consonant sound in the beginning of words. Remember, consonant sound, not letter. Consonant sound. Where? In the beginning of the word. So, for example, if you have two words like gray and gate, the repetition of the g sound in the beginning of the word, that's considered alliteration. I'll show you now examples from our poem for alliteration. Let's go back to stanza 1. I will show you stanza 1 here. Line 2 exactly, to be precise. The score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play. Yes, it's here. Alliteration. What is being repeated here? What sound is repeated in the beginning of these words? Yes, it's the S sound. So the words score and stood is an example of alliteration. Okay? It's an example for alliteration. We have other examples. I wrote for you other examples. We have in stanza 7, line 1, the words him, his, and hands. The consonant sound of H, the sound, is being repeated, so it's alliteration. Also, we have in stanza 9, line number 1, we have the words benches and black. I'll show you in stanza 9. Yes, it's here. The words benches and black. They are an example of alliteration. Okay? I hope you understood an alliteration. So it's the repetition of the consonant sound in the beginning of words. So here we have the S sound in the first example. Here it's the H sound in the second one, and the B sound in the third one. Let's move to the second poetic device, which is consonance. Consonance, guys, actually it's also the repetition of the consonant sound, but where? Within the word. Within the word means like in the middle of the word or at the end of the word, not in the beginning. If it's in the beginning, it's alliteration. So consonance is the repetition of consonant sound within the words. Within the words. Let's have a look over the example I have prepared here. We have in stanza 13, the last stanza, the repetition of the N sound. Let's have a look over stanza 13, which is the last one. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. Guys, we have consonants here. Look at the repetition of the N sound. N, like the word in, land, sun, shining. So this repetition of the N sound is considered consonants. Okay? Did you get it? I hope so. So the repetition of the consonant sound within the word is considered consonants. And if it's in the beginning, it turns to be alliteration. Let's go back to our file. After consonants, the third poetic device. Before we continue, I hope you get the worksheet that we've taken before. We've distributed this worksheet in the first semester, I think. Please, if you have it in your file, get it and have a look over it. Review the poetic devices that we have already taken before. The third poetic device today, we have assonance. Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sound in the words. So it's the repetition of the vowel sound in the words. Now we move to vowel sounds. So Assonance here, example is in stanza 12, the repetition of the I sound. Okay, let's go to stanza 12 here. The sneer, this is stanza 12 for your information. The sneer has fled from Casey's lip, his teeth are clenched in hate. So here we have the I sound in the word lip and his. Okay, this is considered assonance. It's the repetition of the vowel sound within the word. And also look in the second line, we have the word with and his. Okay, also it's considered assonance. That's it. I hope you understood assonance. Let's go back to our file with the fourth poetic device, which is onomatopoeia. What is onomatopoeia? Onomatopoeia is the words that stand for a sound. Yes, they are the words that stand for a sound. Like what? Like the word boom. The word boom represents a sound of something exploding, okay? The sound of the clock. Yes, someone can mention a tick-tock, tick-tock. This is another example of onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia, again, words that represent a sound. What are some of the examples of onomatopoeia in our poem? I'll scroll down for you guys. Do you remember words like whack, rumbled, rattled, and roar? All of them are examples of onomatopoeia. Okay, that was onomatopoeia. Let's move to the other one. Rhyme. Everyone is an expert at rhyme, I think. Or do you remember what is rhyme? You don't? No, I think you do. Someone can tell me or give me some examples of some rhyming words from the poem. I will go back to the poem. Guys, usually the rhyming words are found at the end of the lines. Let's take here, I think this is stanza number 7. The word dirt, it rhymes with the word shirt. So dirt and shirt, these are rhyming words. Did you remember rhyme or not yet? Yes, you did. Good job. Also, you can take the word hip and the word lip. Air, there, sped, said, roar, shore, and so on. Let's go back to the file and you will see some rhyming words. Day, play, rest, breast, Blake, cake, yell, dell. Okay, you can write now on your copybook some other examples of all the poetic devices that we have studied so far. You can reread the poem and please take out some of the poetic devices on your own. I hope you do that, guys. The next poetic device is the rhyming scheme. What is the rhyming scheme? I think you have seen it when I scrolled down. Anyway, I will go back to the poem to show you from the very beginning how can we decide about the rhyming scheme. Simply, guys, I'll go back to the file actually again. I'll show you with one of the stanzas here. Let's take, for example, stanza 13. The first line of the stanza ends with the word bright. I'll change completely the color. Okay. Okay, red. I'll go with red. It ends with the word bright. It ends with the word bright. So I will give this word a symbol or A. I'll give it the letter A. And the last word in the second line also light. The word light rhymes with the word bright. Is that right? Yes. So I will give it the same letter that I have given to the word bright. So since light rhymes with bright, they share the same letter or the same symbol here. It's A. Okay. Now the third line, we have shout. We have shout. Okay, the word shout, does it like rhyme with the word light or bright? No, it doesn't rhyme with the words bright and light. So I'm going to give it a new letter, B. Okay, the fourth line has the word at the end out. Okay, I will highlight this word. Out, actually, does it rhyme with bright or light? No. Does it rhyme with shout? Yes. I'll give it the same letter, B. So, now, guys, we finished the stanza. Let's look at the rhyming scheme of this stanza. Now, you should have an idea about the rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme, as you can see, A, B, B. How do we decide about the rhyming scheme? By looking for the rhyming words at the end of the lines and giving the each pair of rhyming words the same symbol or the same letter. Usually we start with the first letter of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, and you move on the go. I hope you understood what is rhyming scheme. So the rhyming scheme, I can write it for you here, A, B, B. Let's scroll down to rhyming scheme. As you can see, it's A, B, B. Now go back to any stanza in the poem. We will go back together actually. Look here, the word rest, it rhymes with the word breast. So in your mind, give these words the letter A. Then we have the word that. It rhymes with bat, B. So the rhyming scheme again, A, B, B. You can apply this on the entire poem, guys. If you take any stanza from the poem, the rhyming scheme will be the same. Okay, it will be the same. Wherever you look, you will find it in any stanza, A, B, B. Okay, maybe someone is asking now, can we have like a different rhyming scheme in different poem? My answer is definitely yes. You can have any rhyming scheme in the poem, but once you have it in a certain poem, you will have it the same in all the stanzas. Okay, for example, you can have in one poem the rhyming scheme as A, B. You can have it A, B, like our poem. You can have it, for example, do you need me to write for you? I'll just make sure this is not for our other rhyming schemes. To answer your question, okay, it could be A, B, like our stanza or our poem, sorry. It could be A, B. It could be A, B, C. It could be A, B, C. It could be like whatever you find there. You have to match the rhyming words together. Okay? Before we finish, we have one more poetic device, which is repetition. I'll write it here for you guys. So number 7. Repetition, of course, What is repetition? Who can answer that? Yes, repetition, when you repeat a word or a phrase or a sentence. What is an example of repetition? We had two examples of repetition to be precise in our poem. Who can remember these examples? I'll scroll down to the stanza that has repetition so that, yes, I'm helping you out to get it. Did you see it? Yes, here. The word what? Are you thinking about fraud and fraud? Or it's most likely here in the words and now, and now, and now. Yes, that's actually we have discussed this in the stanza itself when I shared with you, and now, and now, and now. This is an example of repetition that creates the mood of suspense in the poem. So this is an example of repetition. We came to the end of our discussion, to the end of our poem, and to the end, of course, to the poetic devices. Guys, I hope you find the worksheet of the poetic devices and review it carefully. I hope that my explanation was like a good help for you to understand this poem. I hope that you study hard, you review hard. Don't forget to write the notes. Don't forget, as usual, please keep your copybook and your pencil always ready to write the notes with your teachers, with me, or with other teachers. At the end, from me, best of luck, stay safe, God bless you all. That's it. Goodbye for coming videos for maybe revision. Okay? Best regards. That's all from me. Wish you always the best of luck. Thank you.